in a serene hilltop. The sky is dipping slowly into the ocean. As you look at this beautiful scenery, taking in deep breaths, the intoxication of the nature's. Welcome to the all new ThyGap podcast, everyone. We're so happy to be back. I am your favorite host, Being Brute. And with me, as always, I have
Bogus Noog.
Bogus. What is up, my dear Noog?
Nothing much, bro. Back to our usual programming after our Bodagavaskar special.
Yes.
Concluded.
Which was long due.
Yeah, long overdue.
Long due.
And apart from that, I also watched Denis Villeneuve's Dune, which was...
Without me, twice.
Yep, which was
Should
fantastic.
have some shame professing it.
It made the experience all the more better, actually.
Stop lying, Bogus. Every single time, you just have to keep lying.
What I'm not lying about is the movie is a work of art. It was really great, bro.
Yeah, I mean, see, the idea was mine, to be honest. I always had this idea of a civilization placed in the future, which basically is a salvation of all the damage that we did. This was an idea that I always had. And then I have teleported this idea across the universe until someone actually embraced it and executed it, made it into a piece of art
Way back
so that
in
you
the
can
70s.
enjoy.
Yeah.
See, time doesn't work the way you think it works.
Yeah,
Okay?
of course.
It doesn't. But what you might ask me, rather than asking me these dumb questions, is how did you come with this idea? You can ask me that.
No, I don't have to, because I already know that time doesn't work in the way we think. And for those who are wondering what we mean, we already did an episode on Christopher Nolan called
Yeah.
The Bane of Christopher Nolan.
Bane of Christopher Nolan.
Check it out.
And you should specifically check out the last 45 minutes.
Okay. Why is that?
So that, people listen to the last 45 minutes in a 50-minute episode.
Because time doesn't work
Yeah,
the way
exactly.
they think.
Now you're catching on.
Yeah.
Now you're catching on, Bogus. But where else time doesn't work the way it's supposed to work?
Where?
It's in the bathroom.
Interesting.
It's in a bathroom is where time just stands still. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful. You get up in the morning, go to the loo, and boom, 2 hours just pass by. You don't even know how. You don't even know why. The most important part, you don't even care
There is
that
something...
2 hours has just passed away.
Yeah, there is something weird and interesting about the bathrooms.
It's not weird, Bogus. Stop making it sound or look bad.
No, weird in a good way, I mean.
Use better words. Then.
Peculiar.
No, use positive words. Use positive connotations. Like,
Positively peculiar.
there is something so amazing about the whole bathroom scenario.
Beautifully strange.
Beautiful. Don't have to add another, adjective. Just one single adjective is enough.
Okay.
Something so lovely. Something so preposterous. All those words. I don't know what it means, but
Yeah,
you're the vocab
it's Russian,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah. I love bathrooms. I love spending time in bathrooms. And the whole idea of these dunes concept was one of those times that I was spending in bathroom. Like, what if, the human race becomes so dumb that intelligent guys like me who are left have to revive the civilization? How would I do that? And boom, the whole script of Dunes just popped up in my brain. It was so amazing.
And I don't think we are alone in this, because especially nowadays, right, bathrooms are becoming a refuge almost for people of our generation. Whether it's at the workplace. Initially, I thought, okay, it makes sense. Maybe it's just at the workplace. But no, it's even at home.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. Bathrooms, I don't know, have this innate ability to detox you from reality.
Quite literally, you're
Literally.
detoxing,
Literally.
But also, there is another aspect, another dimensional detoxification that is happening, which we want to go into this.
All kinds of detox. It's like going through that scanner, at the airports, say you have change your pocket, you have a lighter in your pocket or something.
Right.
And you go through the scanner and go back, drop the lighter.
Drop your pants.
Drop your pants.
Yeah.
Remove your belt.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens in a bathroom, but it's only voluntarily you do that. It's not even like somebody has to force you to do it.
Yeah.
But you go into the bathroom, and I'm speaking about the loo specifically. It's not like go into the bathroom, take a shower,
Right.
brush your teeth and all. But specifically when you're on the pot, there's a different high you get.
On your own throne.
In the London, however you say it. When you go to London,
Yep.
I don't know why that is even a phrase. Like
I like it though.
I love that.
Yeah.
Especially.
I think it's only in India.
Yeah, that they love the concept
They
of
call it London.
London. And you know what's for PP?
No, what's that?
It's Paris.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to go to number 1, it's Paris. If number 2, then it's London.
Makes
I have
sense.
zero idea. But I think a lot of the fresh, raw thoughts that I get, I think 80 to 90% of them come when I'm doing the business.
So why, I was just going to ask you that and you already answered it, but I was going to ask you like, why do you love it so much and why do you spend so much time there?
I don't know. I don't even remember why I have that habit, but as a kid, like my father had this habit of keeping few books in the toilet.
Okay.
It was a very weird thing actually to like have a small shelf, this portable shelf filled with like different books.
Yeah.
Okay. And we didn't have phones back then.
Right.
So it almost became like a habit that if you have to go to the loo, you need something to read. For me.
So you're expecting a long session
No,
already.
it's just like you have to read something.
Okay.
You just can't waste that time. It was almost like that.
Okay.
And it might also probably be because, I don't know, there's no reason that will justify this, but it was a habit. The habit was pick up a book or a magazine or newspaper, whatever it was.
Right.
You do your business and you're reading.
And now it's the phone.
Now it's the phone. I sometimes take like a comic book just to like be busy.
Right.
That's how it started. And then I started realizing maybe it is also a mixture of me reading while doing it, which kind of kept my brain active. And it used to be amazing.
I just want to clarify for our listeners here. We're not talking about a case of constipation or something like that.
No.
It's the regular.
It's the regular stuff.
Yeah.
I had like really high metabolism. So I used to go like 2-3 times a day as a kid till I got treated. I don't know what the treatment was for also. But
you don't know what it was for, but obviously it was for your psychosis. But even
stop using this fancy words like psychosis. It was for
That's
your
why you don't remember. It was electroshock therapy.
This was for your neuropsychic psychosis or something like that. Don't do that. Okay, keep it simple.
In
This is
my
ThyGap.
case, it's quite opposite actually. I don't spend a lot of time in the bathroom, like on the loo. Actually, I spend the least amount of time. I'm usually just in, and one flow of motion is like whoosh, it's just out, and then I'm back out. I spend very little time, but it's so weird that the most original or inspired ideas, I only happen to get there. I don't get it anywhere else usually.
And it is also specifically on the pot, right? Like
It
I
is on
heard a
the pot.
lot of people say that, I was in the shower and I was thinking about it and I got this idea. And I'm like, nah, he was not in the shower.
Yeah.
That guy was on the pot.
Yeah.
I can make out by the originality of the idea that he was on the pot.
Yeah, even I heard some people saying that, they got some idea in the shower or something,
Yeah.
but it was always
It's just like
the-
nicer way of saying that I was shitting.
Right. Yeah, I was shitting, yeah.
And then I got this idea, and they can't say that I got this idea on a shit pot, so they don't reveal it.
But this is what God is wondering, and this is why we're doing the episode. If you tend to take slightly longer compared to me, and you tend to get ideas on the pot,
Yeah.
I take barely any time, but even I get my best ideas there.
Yeah.
What is it about the bathroom that is allowing this inspiration to like come through?
It's a very simple answer, because I know you would ask this question, so I came prepared. It's just spiritual sacredness. that the pot obtains with so many asses being on it.
No, but it's your
That
pot,
you-
right? You were talking about a dedicated
Yeah, so you're
throne.
living in a house. Like I lived in a joint family.
Right.
And it's like even an Indian pot, by the way. As a kid, I was on the Indian pot. We didn't
Right,
have this
right.
fancy Western shit.
Yeah.
I don't know, like to answer your question seriously, it's just a theory on the hindsight. I remember like almost every conversation which was about an idea that we had, either whether you shared it or I shared it or whatever.
Yeah.
It was almost like, by the way, this was a bathroom idea.
Yeah.
You know,
Quite a lot of our podcast topic ideas, for example.
Yeah, are in the loo. Only that, okay, please don't mistake that we are not in the same bathroom. We're like,
Yeah.
me and Bogus are like different bathrooms, okay? It got me to think, and when I'm on the pod, I get like some really weird thoughts, which I would naturally not get.
Yeah.
And they're very shameless also, in fact. Why I say that shameless, they're not bad thoughts. They're not evil thoughts.
Is
They're
there-
just curious,
Right.
naive thoughts. thoughts. Like, for example, I don't know if this ever happened to you, but I once was thinking that, and I was on the pot, and I was thinking, what if somebody looks at me right now? What would be their first impression?
How do I look right now?
No, what if somebody sees me like right now in the act, and what would be their first impression?
Okay.
You know, it's not like how do I look, maybe as a train of thought that would have come. But I was just thinking, like, what would you think? Like, say if somebody has like an X-ray vision, like Superman,
right?
Like he's just scanning for crime, and boop,
he finds you.
He finds me sitting in the pod. What is Superman thinking?
Yeah.
Because, you know, most of the times I'm so blank, I'm so zoned out. And it's so pleasant. It's not like bad zone out.
Yeah.
It's not like the zone out that you have in the middle of your work.
I know,
like, you know, just like hang your head back and like, what the fuck
That's
is
almost like you're
life?
decomposing inside.
Yeah.
And this is the opposite of that.
This is rejuvenate.
Yeah.
You're just zoned out and you're like, what if? Like, if this was, but why not? All those kind of questions, right? Like, I'm giving you a template of what kind of questions you kind of, what kind of thoughts you get. And they're not even like a thought where I want an answer for this.
Right.
It's just a fleeting thought. There's no pressure. There's only pressure downwards,
right?
And maybe that's how it works. Also, if you can somehow misplace the pressure in your head to your bowel,
right?
Then maybe you're much more clearer. I don't know how it works, but you know, there's no pressure for these thoughts of answering them. There is no pressure of doing it right. There is no pressure of what will people think,
right?
You know.
So what you're saying is you never really came to a conclusion to that question that you had.
No, and that's the beauty of it, right? Because there is no compulsion for a closure, right? You're not searching for anything. You're just letting it flow. And maybe that's the whole, you remember
that's the secret to life.
Yeah. You remember the inspiration episode?
Yeah.
And this is exactly what we were thinking, right? Like, where does inspiration come from? And why does inspiration come? Blah, blah, blah. Maybe if you actually think about it, it's just about letting things be rather than trying to decode them, dissect them, try to be smart. You know, the biggest baggage we have is we got to look intelligent. We got to look smart.
We got to complicate
we have to complicate things because simple things anybody can do simple things. And that's what we think. But the reality is the other way around. Doing simple things is much more difficult.
Yeah.
But in London, you don't have that pressure. You don't have that expectation, the baggage, with this long list of adjectives for that. And which is what is actually needed. And that brings me to the question, like, how come you're not addicted to the space? Like, when you know that there's so many beautiful things that happen on the throne. You said like you don't take so much time.
Yeah.
It's not for the function that I spend so much time. It's just because that's the only place I can just be.
Right.
And that is addictive for me.
Got that. No, I'll come to that. But there are a few things that you said that I want to go back to. One is the fact of letting things flow and, not feeling compelled to come to a conclusion about something.
Yeah.
Anyone who tries to embark on a spiritual kind of journey into one of these oldest, ancient walks of life, eventually after a point, after going deep enough, they come to this philosophy, which is ultimately you should not try to, define things, and you should not try to feel the compulsion of concluding on something, but you should rather let it flow. You should go with the flow kind of thing.
Yeah.
And what you're telling is you just sit on the shit pot and this is what comes to you.
Yeah.
So there is a very funny, uncanny, weird kind of shortcut that happens on the shit pot.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm trying to say. And the other thing that you said was, maybe the fact that there is already a downward pressure that needs to work organically. Maybe that is freeing you up to think, or maybe that is freeing up any other pressure in your mind that you're thinking freely. It reminded, when you said that, it reminded me of something they try to teach as a technique of meditation, which is, it is way harder if you try to keep your mind completely blank, at least when you're starting off. You need to have one anchor point, one constant. And usually that is focus on your breathing or something like that. Or focus
Imagine a fire, imagine a candlelight.
Exactly. So actually focus on a candlelight in the dark room and let that be your anchor.
Yeah.
When you look at, because we mentioned Nolan, when you look at Inception, they have that one totem, right?
Yeah.
So that is your one anchor to your reality.
Correct.
And that is what keeps you grounded.
Yeah.
So this theme sort of keeps coming back. And now, weirdly enough, we see a connection with the shitpot to this ancient wisdom and meditation techniques.
It is meditation. And by the way, congrats for making shitting a spiritual act.
Yeah. ThyGap, subscribe.
And share, guys, and share. Which for me it is.
It is, yeah.
It is.
For me too.
For me, going to the shit is probably, I know a lot of people might find this very cocky or
Off-putting?
or vulgar, in fact. And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Because we've designed to believe that the most important function, which is excretion,
Is somehow beneath you.
is unspiritual, ungodly.
Yeah, it's only literally beneath you.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I don't blame if somebody gets these thoughts like, oh, she talking about shit and talking about spirituality.
Yeah.
Try to kill my father, bitch. So I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. You don't like your morning alone time.
Yeah.
Can't help it.
You're disconnected from reality.
Yeah. But for me, it is a form of rejuvenation. It is a form of connection also. For me, again, it's a very subjective
No,
take.
it's for me too.
Yeah, because
Even though I don't spend a lot of time.
which is, I mean, I just can't understand. Like, it is like you finally figured out what brings you into the Zen mode. And then you're like, I don't want to spend too much time there. Let me get out of it.
Right.
I just don't get that. It's like we fight for that all our life. We are searching for that. How do I go to the Zen mode? And there's a hack you do day in, day out.
Yeah.
And you don't want to embrace it because there are some biological problems or you're afraid of whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if you sit too long, your butthole hangs out.
All well and good. Like, I mean, I don't know. But I don't have that problem still. And I've spent a decent amount of time. And if it even comes now, I don't even care. I'm at that stage where, like, it doesn't make a huge difference for me.
Right.
But you know what I mean. Right?
Yeah,
Like, it is just that you go in there, it is really, really transparent.
Yeah.
You're not ashamed of being naked. You're not ashamed of being vulnerable.
There is no shame at all.
Yeah, there's no shame at all. And which is a great place to be mentally, you know, when you don't feel the need or baggage or pressure of being presentable or being in a certain way, etc., etc. It's so amazing when all of that is taken off from you. Then you're a different person altogether.
I think just to very quickly answer the question of why am I not as addicted to the bathroom as you are, probably the only difference I can see in both of our situation is outside of the bathroom for you, currently, you don't have absolute privacy. For me though, outside of the bathroom in my current situation, I still do have absolute privacy.
Yeah.
So that is the only difference I see.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
maybe
yeah.
that is the reason why
It
I'm
might
not as...
It might be true actually. I don't get to enjoy the hangover of the thoughts. The moment I step out and you're seeing
It's the
all
real
kinds
world.
of it's a world that you made for yourself basically.
Yeah.
Which is never good.
Yeah.
Right? Step out of the bathroom and suddenly you go like you look at the TV and like I have to recharge Netflix
Tasks,
or
to-dos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like if you ask me a house is just post-its of to-dos.
Right.
You look at the dining table or you go and look into the fridge
Everything
and like,
reminds you of
one
thing or the other.
Some activity, right?
Yeah.
And even small things like the moment you step out, look at your bedroom and like on the bed you have some clothes which have just been washed and like I have to give it for ironing. And then you go a little further and then you look at something else and you're like I forgot to. There is procrastination there. There is deadlines.
Yeah.
There are all these kind of things which really bog you down.
Yeah,
Right?
and weirdly enough, I just want to state that even though I said just now that outside of the bathroom I still have absolute privacy, still for me, when I step out of the bathroom, the ideas don't flow in as they do when I was inside. You know,
Because you might be seeing a workstation. You might be
Something,
seeing,
yeah.
you might be seeing a cup that you had a coffee of, and then you're like, how to put it into a sink.
so it's not just about privacy.
Yeah, it's a lot of things. I think it's an amalgamation of the nonsense that we kind of put ourselves in, knowingly or unknowingly. Sometimes it's an obligation. Sometimes it's your own accountable action. The reality is that once you go beyond a certain stage, like as an adult, then it's imperative that you start getting involved into a system.
Yeah.
The only back door or the blind spot in the system is the bathroom.
Yeah.
Because in a bathroom, nobody's coming in.
Yeah.
Nobody can bring you out.
Right.
Nobody can push you in. Maybe they can, but that's for a bath or maybe. But you get what I'm saying, like motamoti.
It's the only thing that is disconnected from the matrix, so to speak. Yeah, it's the only thing that has its own
It's
domain.
a perfect blind spot.
Yeah.
Even for ourselves.
And if you look at like what's actually happening, when we go into the loo and we sit on our throne, what is happening there from my observation is first, I think it has something to do with that geographical area itself. And, typically our bathrooms, they're not really spacious. They're not like our bedrooms or our living rooms or anything like that.
Yeah.
They're quite small compared to everything. So typically when we go in, we have a very clear, conscious awareness of the boundaries around us.
Yeah.
And we can see the scope or the limit of that boundary. And we know that we are absolutely alone. Like maybe even if we step out into a room where it's just us.
This doesn't have a vulgar ending, right?
No.
Okay.
Maybe even if we step out into a room where it's just us or into a home that is just us, maybe we don't feel as alone there even as much as we do feel in that bathroom.
I think I have an answer why.
Hold on to that.
Yeah, I'll hold on.
Adding to that, when you sit on the loo, the physical action of detoxification itself, I'm guessing definitely releases some endorphins, some dopamine, because there needs to be a reward system for you to take a shit, right? Evolutionarily, you feel good when you take a shit because that's what's happening.
Yeah. Okay.
So at the same time, you're feeling absolutely free, like you said, without any attention on you, without any inhibitions, no shame at all. And at the same time, you are consciously aware of the limits of the surrounding around you. And at the same time, you are physically detoxifying, like your body.
Like literally.
Literally, your body and your biochemicals are detoxifying.
Yeah.
And releasing endorphins and releasing dopamine into your body. All of this is becoming like a concoction. And now it seems to be combining into this effect that we have.
Okay, I'll take the second part of your statement, which is like the whole concept of you're detoxing and, etc., etc., etc. So it's for me, it is like pretty straightforward. Literally, you're throwing out toxins out of your body. So anything which has lesser toxin is more efficient in functioning.
Yeah.
Right? So that's as simple math as it. I don't go deeper than that. The first part where you said that even though you're alone in a room, maybe a bedroom or the house, dining room, wherever it is, it's still not the same as being alone in a bathroom or being in the bathroom. I have a reason for that, why that is the case, why there's such stark differentiation between the privacy of a bathroom or the nature of the privacy of bathroom is so different from the nature of privacy of your bedroom and all, is because bathrooms don't have memories. Bathrooms don't have any trigger points. You don't leave back memories in a bathroom. You don't create memories in a bathroom. You go to a bathroom with a single point agenda. You're absolutely clear why you want to be there and you get out. When you're alone in a bedroom has memories.
True.
A hall has memories. A kitchen has memories. So if you look at a house, everything is basically a setup of memories. Say, the longer you stayed in the house, the
you
bigger the
accumulate
library.
stuff.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And not just that, even as nostalgia.
Yeah.
As a kid, this is where I used to sit on the cylinder and eat what my mom used to cook or look at what my mom used to do.
Right.
Oh, so this is a bathroom. Good. So what did you do here? Like, actually nothing. Just go there. Shit, come out. So the moment, I think that plays a huge role in our baggage also. A bathroom doesn't have memories. Every place else in the house has memories. And that is why the difference of privacy, and even if you're alone in the house, it's all the more in effect. All these memories start activating much faster if you're alone in the house.
Yeah.
But in a bathroom, there is no activation. There is no trigger point. What is the trigger point? The shampoo is getting over? No.
Pretty much that's the only thing that there could be.
Nothing. Even that, how many times do you realize that your shampoo is over after, like in the middle of your bath?
Yeah.
That's because you don't give a shit about whether the shampoo is full or not.
Yeah, you're only giving a shit about taking a shit.
Taking a shower. It's
taking a shit.
It's it's taking a shit or taking a shower or whatever it is, right? It is a very, very unidimensional place mentally for you, which is why I think it starts opening up doors inside your head where you otherwise have not even bothered to knock. These are doors you've never bothered to knock because memories have been coming in middle.
Yeah, I mean,
how cool is that theory?
No, it makes sense. Definitely about familiar spaces having memories or having trigger points for sure. And I even have another reference of, taking a dump alone in my bathroom or taking a dump alone out in the wild, by a mountain or something. Whenever I went hiking or something and I had to do it.
You had to do it.
You had to do it. There's no one around. But the fact that you're not consciously aware of the limits around you, like the boundaries, and it's all wide open. Now your reptilian brain kind of kicks in, your survival instinct, like always looking behind.
On the alert.
Over your shoulder. You're kind of shitting in an alert state of mind. So it feels free, but it doesn't feel private. So even there, ideas don't kick in, or that same thought process does not kick in.
Because you're always under a kind of stress. Like being alert is basically a softer version of being stressed.
Right.
In a bathroom, you're not stressed. I've never felt stressed in a bathroom. In fact, you go to the bathroom if you're stressed, just to de-stress. How many times have you gone to your washroom, office washroom or whatever, just to like vent it out?
Oh, I was just going to talk about a social phenomena that are happening today. It's not just us. It's like so many people, they go to the bathroom to de-stress.
Yeah.
And even more so at the workplace.
Exactly.
Which I totally understand. Because the workplace bathroom for me is slightly different in terms of dynamic. Is when you go to the workplace bathroom and you lock yourself in those cubicle, the biggest relief is that you stop acting.
Yeah.
You stop playing that character that you're playing in the workplace.
There is no role play.
There's no role play anymore. You take a pause, like scene break. So that is the biggest relief.
Yeah.
At home, not so much. That aspect is not there. I mean, for me at least.
It's a different trigger.
It's a different thing.
Yeah.
But the one common thing about what I at least find myself doing every time I sit on the pot. As an automatic reflex action, I start stretching my neck. I start turning my head around as if to stretch and relax and unwind. It just automatically happens,
Your body behaves differently.
Yeah.
You know how you're sitting in a chair in the office, and not even in the office, I'll give you, even at home.
Yeah.
Like you're sitting and, throwing your head back and watching TV or something. Suddenly your father or your uncle or somebody passes by. You may not really react, but your body kind of gets alert.
Yeah.
Like, okay, there is going to be a conversation now and I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So I'll be prepared for what it might be. And you just go into that subtle alert mode subconsciously. That is enough to like put your body into, like, you'll forget what you're watching for a brief moment, all that.
Yeah.
I think all that plays a part. In office, obviously there's a lot more, it's a much more higher stress place. And I'm not talking stress in a bad way, but it's about your role play, your persona, what kind of image you have portrayed to your colleagues and your bosses, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
So all that is subtle baggage for you, right? So when you go to the loo, even in your and thanks to the offices nowadays, the bathrooms are fucking brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Oh sweet, they smell good. They're constantly dry. You don't have to worry about. They're not like
cleaned
school
about
bathrooms.
like twice or thrice a day or something. Yeah.
Twice or thrice, they're like done every 2 hours a day. I guess.
Yeah.
They're not like school bathrooms at least, right?
Yeah.
But all that baggage is dropped.
Yeah.
And the moment I step out of the cubicle, even to wash my hands,
it just comes.
I look in the mirror
and
and I'm like, this was not the guy who was in there.
Yeah.
Like the face is turned, there's no smile, there is no like, the eyes are like alert. Like, you can make out, right?
Yeah.
Like if you know yourself well and you're like just trying to be very professional in washing your hands, right? You're not like, you're just not like bloop, bloop, bloop and going. And you're like, oh, I hope everybody likes me washing my hands. Okay, I'm going to now dry my hands very professionally and then, do all that whole 9 yards.
But it's a critical point about the baggage. Like we were just discussing about, there is something about the geographical area of the bathroom itself, which seems to have its own metaphysical rules.
It's the 8th dimension.
It's the 8th dimension of how it works. And I find that there is a similarity to when you travel, right? Like suppose when you're going on a trip, what I found in my case is if I'm starting off from Hyderabad, as soon as I find myself crossing the city limits and now I'm completely out of the place that I was boxed in, I find literally that whatever thoughts, memories, plans, whatever trigger points, whatever references that I had about things going on around me, just melting off. They just melt off and then I've forgotten all of that bullshit. And I think that's the reason why people travel nowadays. But what I found is as soon as I cross the city limits, everything related to that city and my life there is just melts off. And now I find myself more free, more open, in a better mood. And I'm looking at everything. I'm taking everything in, new people, new experiences, all that stuff.
Okay.
In the bathroom, it is exactly the same. As soon as I step in and you sit on the pot, everything's melted off. But there's no taking in new experience, no nothing. It's just melted off. It is just void.
But bogus, you're unlocking parts of your brain which you otherwise did not without any stimulus.
Yeah.
It's ignorance which is making you travel. It is wisdom which is making you shit. Okay. If you're smart about it, think about it. Like you go to the bathroom, you have the same experience. I agree you might not get experiences of new cultures, new people, blah, blah, blah. But my take of travel is the ideas you get are reactive in nature.
Yep.
Because you see something, you reflect on it and like, this is a good idea.
Yep.
Or you hear somebody tell a story and you think about it and like, that seems like a good story.
Yeah.
But when you're in your bathroom on the pot, they are proactive ideas. They don't come with any stimulus. They don't get triggered because of I saw a bug on the wall. I got an idea now.
Yeah.
No, it's just like it's coming out of nowhere. It's
You're
so pure.
channeling a completely different source.
Yeah, it's so pure. It's just our foolishness that we don't tap in it. But if you figure out how to tap your brain, on the pot, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, because I don't think that you ever channel that same source anywhere else. Like you said, when you're traveling, it's all reactive stuff that's happening. And if the objective was just to get inspired and just to get original ideas, rather than spend all that money and travel somewhere, it's much
stress.
And stress.
Planning is stress.
Yeah.
Packing is stress. Unpacking is stress. Everything is like stressful act.
Yeah.
The only good part is basically when you're not driving the car and you're like sitting in the back seat and you're like, wow, it's an awesome trip, go bro.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big guy on wanderlust or the whole travel thing. I'm not against travel once again, but the people who say that I'm traveling because I need a break, I'm traveling because I want to de-stress or all that. I just feel that, dude, you just got addicted to traveling. That's the whole thing. You like the whole act of going across to different places, blah blah blah. But I can give you 10,000 other ways of getting the same experience without even moving an inch.
It's possible that that's the case, the addiction that you mentioned.
But which is why I was asking you previously, like, how come you didn't get addicted to spending time on the loo after realizing, if you're a guy who I just go to the loo, take a dump and that's about it. But you are one of those guys who also gets those ideas, who gets to tap onto channels which you otherwise wouldn't have tapped. Which is why I'm curious, you got addicted to traveling per se. I can say that you're addicted to traveling, right? You feel restless when you don't travel for
to some extent. And I do feel like it is a break. I do feel like it is a de-stressor. But it's not like the bathroom. It's not the same thing. And it's going to a very strange place now, because the reason why I'm still not addicted to the bathroom, I feel, is because of how easily that inspiration just flows through. It's not like I'm going with an intention to get inspired. I'm not going into it with an intention to get ideas. But even when I'm not intending that, you
still get
it just flows through, and it's so original at times. It is so inventive, and I'm sure that it is not my creativity or anything, because it just drops like bird shit. Like we said in our inspiration episode, it just drops like bird shit, the whole package. And I'm caught off guard. It's like, where did this come from? Because when I step out, and like I told you, right, when I step out, I still have my privacy, but I find myself in situations where I'm looking at a blank screen or a blank piece of paper and I'm trying to come up with an idea.
It just doesn't come.
It doesn't work.
It just doesn't.
So I have the full intention, but it doesn't work. But the bathroom, I go in, even though I'm spending very little time there, as soon as I sit on the shit pot, it just starts flowing through. So I guess I never felt addicted because of how freely it comes, which is where I want to take it to now. It's like, because you mentioned a very important thing, which is the body's reactivity or the body's sensitivity. Like you gave the example of, what if you're just sitting on your couch and you're watching TV and somebody walks past, and even before you with your mind, you react to it or whatever, your body has already reacted to it. So your body has a different kind of intelligence of its own. So
it's like muscle memory.
So why is this process of inspiration, or why is this process of getting ideas so delicate, that even a very small thing can just disrupt the whole process? And the only way we can get it is when we go to take a shit. What is it about the process of getting ideas and inspiration that it is so delicate?
Maybe trying too hard.
That is
on top of my head. Any voluntary action has a default expectation. So if say right now I like, okay, Bogus, tell me a joke.
Balls.
Right? Because there is an expectation and you define the value of that expectation. Like it becomes a tangible metric that my joke will be so good. Unfortunately, these are intangible. What is a good joke? It's an intangible.
Yeah.
It only can be known after you see how many people laugh. And that value changes every single time you tell the joke.
Man, that just took me back to a horror situation where I tried applying for a sales job as my first job way back. And this lady
Sell me a watch.
sell me this pen.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this pen.
Yeah.
So good. God, it was so hard.
It's just so smooth and sexy.
I couldn't even get out the words, dude.
Yeah.
I was shocked, like literally that is your process for evaluating. And it kind of made sense, but she put me on the spot and said, sell me this pen.
Yeah.
It's like tell me a joke kind of thing, you know, like that expectation kind of thing. That itself made it so hard.
Yeah, which is what I think our whole life is. Every time we go about trying to do something, we have an expectation. We can't stop from it. Which is why, again, a lot of people keep saying that don't have expectations on your hard work. Just keep doing it and don't think about the result. Blah, blah, blah.
It's written in the Gita.
Also, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got the best of motivational books and it's there. Whereas shitting is a zero expectation work.
True.
So the moment the brain or your mind or whatever the fuck that is there inside your skull goes to that zone, it's a free board. You just like threw him out of the cage, right? You just threw that whole restless being in your head out of the cage and you said like, okay, got 10 minutes, roam around the field and come.
And your body is also distracted because your body is focused on the function that it has to do the shit pot.
Exactly. The body is like, okay, fuck it. Like I just have to dump all this nonsense.
Yeah.
And okay, guys, everybody relax. We just have one job to do. But what is happening in your mind is, okay, now I don't have anything else to tell the body. So I'll do, it's like my break. It's like my lunch break or whatever. So I'm going to do whatever I want to do. So when you let that loose, I feel it knows where it wants to go and it goes there.
So all of this nonsense that, I mean, we discussed how the process of ideas or inspiration itself is so delicate that it gets, disrupted at a very small thing.
Yeah.
So all of that nonsense, whether it is, whatever it is, can we put it all down to some form of stress?
It is, right? Like, which is what I was telling you. Being alert is a soft version of being stressed.
Right.
Your body is like on the edge to either flee or fight. That's what being alert is, right? So it is stress. Anything where your body is being pushed to do something is stress. And we have devised infinite ways of putting our body into stress. What is interesting for me is what is the nature of stress?
Right.
In the sense like, is stress adopted? Is stress created? Does stress work like energy? It's neither created nor destroyed, but it transforms from one shape to another, one form to another. Does it behave like that? And there's a long list of questions actually. Is stress time related?
Right.
Because, a big interview is coming. Your appraisal is coming. It's only till the point of your appraisal that your body is just like
stressed about the future.
Yeah, it's just, and then the moment you bypass that point of appraisal form, whether it goes well or bad is secondary for you suddenly. Once that act is over, once that event is over, you're like, fuck it. Now whatever happens, I don't care. I've done with it.
Yeah.
So is stress time related or event related? Which is, quite literally it is. One thing that I've realized is stress is never present. Stress is either past, I made a bad investment, I don't know how it will bite me back, or it is in the future.
Yeah.
The actual root cause of the stress is never in the present, which is a very funny thing. Yeah. And still it impacts, like you said, it disrupts your whole physiology of the current time, the present time.
Yeah, it makes me think, to add on to what you said, is stress time related? It makes me wonder also, especially in the case because we started talking about this weird bathroom thing.
Shit. We're talking about shit, Bogus. Don't shy away from it.
No, we're not talking about shit.
We are talking about shitting.
The process.
The act of shit.
It's just sitting on the pot.
It's shitting.
That's what we're talking about.
Don't be ashamed.
Of course not. Everybody poops. But to add to that, I was also wondering, is stress related to space? Not just time, not just matter, which is collection of things in your home, which are triggering memories, etc. That could come into matter. But it's also probably related to space because I was always racking my head, what is happening on the shit pot that the doors in my mind or my brain are open, allowing all kinds of inspiration and ideas to flow through. And what is happening when I step out that somehow all these doors are clogged and they're blocked and, the ideas can't flow.
It's replaced by stress.
So is it also related to space, like that geographical location, the
it
bathroom?
Is. I think stress doesn't like bad odor. Any place which doesn't smell good, stress doesn't go there.
Right.
You know, like stress behaves like some weird alien body.
This is a breakthrough. ThyGap subscribe. It's like, just stink.
If you don't want, you know, I can prove it. Like, have you seen guys who don't take baths, who are like clumsy?
They're never stressed about shit. Yeah.
They never, gamers, for example. They're never stressed. They're like fucking in the zone, bro.
Yeah.
So maybe, you know, people just didn't put their head there. But maybe stress is not so...
Not just related to time or space or matter, but also
it's
smell.
You know, the more smelly you are, bad smelly, the less stress you will attract.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, in that
I don't know
sense...
where the hell we're going. But it's all making sense.
Yeah. We always make sense, because it's... Unfortunately, you don't realize that. But stress, yes. Is it related to space? It's an interesting question. I won't deny that. But I do make a connection of stress to memories, which brings me to think that stress can be localized, you know?
Yeah.
Because like you said, right? Like the moment you realize that you moved out of the city, you're less stressed. You suddenly are free. You suddenly feel lighter. Or the more disconnected you are to the reality, the less stress you have.
Yeah.
You know, when you're high, when you're intoxicated, you're not stressed. You lose.
Yeah.
I think the other hack would be to be disconnected to reality. Let's stick to the point that you said, like, is stress more related to space? I do agree.
In the case of bathrooms, it seems to prove itself. Like, evidently so.
Evidently. The moment you step into it, like, there's no stress.
Yeah, it's
stress
a whole
has
different...
to wait outside the door.
Just imagine, you know, we keep hearing these conspiracy theories about how the pharaohs of Egypt used to use the pyramids to channel and communicate to some extra dimensional...
What was that called? Astral projection.
Astral projection, like some extra dimensional intelligence.
Yeah.
Then we hear about secret societies, even today, who make connection to some, you know, extra dimensional this thing.
Yeah.
What if they just figured this out? You know, what if they figured it out that you gotta do it through the bathroom?
All they do is get together and poop.
Yeah.
And then like projected astrally. You just have to tap. It can be true.
Yeah.
It can be true.
Like maybe there's a ritual where they cause, you know, circumstances that escalate and amplify, you know, the bathroom channeling. The bathroom channeling. Yeah, imagine, because in bathroom you feel free and you feel private and all the privacy, right?
Yeah.
So imagine, to make that feeling of privacy so much more amplified, they all get together on top of a mountain or something.
There's a cult.
There's a cult.
Where if you have to go to the top 1%, then you have to perform the act of pooping in different stressful scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
the first stage, you don't shit for a week. And you all shit it all at once. And then like the dopamine, I mean, like, I don't know, the mental energy like accumulates and then gives you powers.
Yeah, it's like, you know, the ritual is like they all get together, they wear robes, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, because they're a cult.
Yeah, and you know,
and they have the crown also.
They have the hood,
Yeah.
And full moon night, you know, wolves howling in the distance.
Obviously, it has to be dramatic.
Yeah, and they have a bonfire and stuff.
Yeah,
and huge
big
bonfire.
10 feet bonfire.
And, you know, there's like a feast.
Yeah, and everybody's eating.
Everybody's eating normally.
Yeah.
But the one guy who's supposed to make contact, you know, who's supposed to do the channeling.
Is being overfed.
He's being overfed. Like stuffed throughout the day. And then ultimately they give him some... you know, tablets like loose motion tablets or laxatives or something like that.
They don't spoil it. It has to be natural.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right? So what they'll do...
Oh, yeah, chemicals like tablets have...
Yeah, all these... they have a chemical reaction.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So what they'll do is they'll seal his ass off. Okay? And then they'll throw the key into the valley.
Okay.
Now this guy, after eating the whole day,
right,
he has to go down the valley from the mountain and then search for that key to unlock the seal on his ass.
Oh, okay.
And then if he can prove that it is the right key and it's not cheated or blah, 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 then he'll get access to that one humongous bathroom.
Yeah.
Right? With all these ancient scriptures written on the wall
but,
for him to read and all.
Just before that, you know, when he finds the key and he's like, thank God I can finally go take a dump. They're like, no, it's not done yet.
Yeah. Obviously, it's going to be tough. It's a top tier.
Yeah, they all get together around the bonfire and he's in the center.
Yeah.
And now they tell him, you have to disrobe and you have to get naked in front of us.
I don't know why you're making it vulgar.
No, it's not vulgar.
I thought have this last glass of Jaljeera.
Yeah, that is the prize,
Yeah.
It's not vulgar
Make
at all.
it easy.
Just hear me out.
Okay.
They tell him you have to get naked in front of us. And he's like, oh, why, what? And obviously it's embarrassing, right?
Yeah.
So they make him do it. And now he's extremely embarrassed. It's the opposite of privacy.
Yeah.
And then he'll say, now you've graduated. Now you can channel. So they give him a glass of Jaljeera.
Okay.
And then they push him into the bathroom. And as soon as he goes into the bathroom, just the contrast of embarrassment and
To absolute privacy.
loose motion to absolute privacy and freedom,
Yeah.
it's just, there's a glow.
Like,
As soon as he sits on the shit pot,
yeah.
there's just a glow. He
Like
has a halo.
there is a laser beam that shoots out of the roof of the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
Like into the sky.
Yeah.
And then in a distant universe across, some guy like, we are getting a visitor.
We have been waiting for you.
We've seen you closely every single time.
Yeah, and that is how they make contact.
Yeah. Or more like a Fight Club scenario. There is a cult. The cult is common. But then there is this establishment.
Yeah.
And then there is this anti-establishment. Okay. So this anti-establishment cult basically has a network of bathrooms. Okay.
Spread across
the globe.
Okay.
And these guys have infiltrated like the most top secret, the Pentagons and all of them.
Okay.
And their only way of communication is they go into the loo. And that's where this whole strategization happens of how do we bring down the establishment.
Oh.
It's a simple thing, but more relevant.
This is a movie.
This is absolutely a movie.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is called.
Copyright ThyGap.
Copyright, IP right,
Yeah.
and trademark.
Contact us for royalties or something. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, it's like everybody will come. You know how Fight Club they meet in the cellar or like in a go down or some shit like that. So it's the same. Like nobody knows anybody's face in this cult, but everybody can recognize by the drop of turd, like the different sounds they make. So they get like, "Hey Jack," and it's like, they're like, "Hi Martin." So they sit in the cubicles and the codes are always like, which cubicle, who will come in which cubicle and all that.
Right.
So that nobody can track. And also why this is like the most foolproof system is because there are no cameras in a bathroom.
Oh yeah, of course.
Super privacy,
There's no
bro.
recording devices.
No
of
recording
any kind.
device. Nothing happens. So, and these are high-tech loos, right? They're
Yeah,
not like
yeah,
normal
yeah.
loos. You
Yeah.
switch a button, guns and all come out of the toilet. And
Yeah. The first rule of the shit pot is
Yeah.
to not talk about the shit pot. Yeah. Wow, we have a summer blockbuster on our hands.
for ages to come. This
Yeah.
is cult. This is going to be a cult
It's a
movie.
trilogy.
It's a trilogy. First one happens back in the 1700s,
Yeah.
where the mountain thing happens.
Yeah.
The second one happens during the World War. Obviously, something has to happen during the World War.
Of course. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, the Nazis.
There are two wars that happen, and you can't like miss them. So the second part will be during the World War of how the message was passed through the loos, blah blah blah, whatever.
The Nazis have built bathrooms in Antarctica.
Yeah, and they're studying shit. They went deep. And then obviously the modern times is how it's like
future, like sci-fi.
Yeah, it's like V for Vendetta kind of thing. It's like S for shitpot. But interesting turn of events. It all started with a very simple conversation of
Why the hell are we getting ideas only in the bathroom?
and
why do we feel so good only in the bathroom?
And my question was, how come you're not addicted of spending time in the bathroom yet, bogus? And
Yeah.
from there, we made it spiritual, we made it scientific, we made it medical, and ultimately we made it a movie.
I think of all the episodes we have done, bro, this episode should finally prove to people that you never know what you're going to get.
From ThyGap.
From a ThyGap podcast episode.
Absolutely.
Which is why you all need to subscribe and share.
And share, guys. ThyGap podcast.
Just share. Take a dump. Hey, thanks for listening. You can follow this podcast on Spotify to get notified of new episodes every Thursday. We're also on Apple Podcasts for those of you who have partaken in the forbidden fruit. If you liked what you heard, leave us a 5-star rating and a comment. Say anything like the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. A rating and a comment really helps us out. It's free, and I'm told that's a great price. But enough about us, huh? Tell us about yourself. Leave us a comment. Our Twitter is @ThyGap, and we are _ThyGap on Instagram.